Before we create our first Excel charts, I would like to start with a story, and I'm going to start with the story of what's considered by some the best infographic of all time. And it's an infographic from 1869 depicting Napoleon's invasion of Russia. Please click in the upper right corner for the video story, or you can also find it below our video, and then you can come back to our video. You have to keep in mind that data visualization is both an art and a science. A beautiful book in the field is called The Visual Display of Quantitative Information by Edward Tufte, and he actually has some guidelines for all of us. It says, excellence in statistical graphics consists of complex ideas communicated with clarity, precision, and efficiency. Graphical displays should show the data, induce the viewer to think about the substance rather than about methodology, graphic design, the technology of graphic production, or something else, avoid distorting what the data has to say, present many numbers in a small space, make large data sets coherent, encourage the eye to compare different pieces of data, reveal the data at several levels of detail from a broad overview to the fine structure, serve a reasonably clear purpose, description, exploration, tabulation, or decoration, be closely integrated with the statistical and verbal description of a data set. Graphics reveal data. Indeed, graphics can be more precise and revealing than conventional statistical computations. And then you have the example in the story I showed you before. And then it goes on to say that not applying these principles may result in misleading graphs. I am on Wikipedia page on misleading graphs, and you can just scroll down and see all the examples. The first one refers to pie charts. Now let's take a look. The first pie chart is a 3D chart, and then the next one is a 2D chart. And on the next one, we actually have the percentages. Now let's take a look at the purple and the red. You see 42%. So they have the same size. But if you go back to the 3D and we look at the red and the purple looks like it's bigger. And that's the perspective, the 3D perspective that can distort. Okay? So then you have to be careful when using 3D charts. They should not distort the information. So rather you might stick to 2D, or you might change the perspective of the 3D so it doesn't really distort the data. The next example is with scaling. So we have two axes, and we have one person over here that represents 1, and then we have a huge guy over here that should represent 3. But in this huge guy, you can actually fit 9 guys. So this is not how you should depict the 3, but rather, like in here, you put 3 people on top of each other. In the next example, we look at the y-axis. And you see how it starts from 0 on the right? And all these bars, they look pretty similar. They're very close. But on the left side, it looks like E is twice or more than A. And that's because the scale on the left is incorrect. So you have to pay attention to that. You do not want to misrepresent the data. Another thing that you should keep in mind is to keep your charts very simple. Do not add decorations that do not enhance the message. And that's in Edward Tufte's words, it's called chart junk. So let's take a look at what a chart junk might mean. You see in this example, you can barely see the numbers because of all these colors and grids, and so you do not need this. You need to keep it clean and simple. Let's see another example. Over here we have some regions, and the gradients, they make you think that there are differences, when in fact there are no differences. So don't use gradients unless you want to show variations. And finally, let's see these 3 best practices. Know your audience. That's actually very important. Design graphics that can stand alone outside the context of the report. So when you look at the chart, it should tell you the story. You don't have to go back to the report and see the numbers and understand the story. No, the chart should speak by itself. And then the third, designing graphics that communicate the key messages in the report. So you would like the chart to give you the main ideas.